Right now, you're sitting in a massive corporate headquarters in Houston, Aberdeen, or Tehran. You're a senior petroleum engineer, a pipeline project manager, offshore drilling director. You look at your six-figure salary and your decade of experience and you think your career is perfectly secure. You believe that because the world still consumes millions of barrels of oil a day, your position is untouchable. You're operating under a catastrophic multi-generational illusion. The fossil fuel era isn't just ending, it is mathematically losing its leverage, and your highly specialized technical expertise is currently a wasting asset. You're riding a massive, profitable ship that is slowly but definitely taking on the water. But here is a critical truth the industry refuses to tell you. You do not need a university degree or to survive the 2026 energy shift. You do not need to start over at the bottom. You need to weaponize the brutal industrial scale engineering logic you already possess. But if you could transition from dying legacy of fossil fuels to a highly valued apex renewable career in exactly 3 months, this is not about starting over as an intern. It is about aggressively remapping your existing technical framework to power the next generation of grid-scale storage and green hydrogen. Stop wasting time on a traditional retraining program that treat you like a naive novice. Your experience managing high-pressure, multi-million-dollar oil and gas environment is actually your greatest, most lethal weapon for dominating the renewable infrastructure sector. Before I completely deconstruct the myth of the green skill gap, expose the massive arbitrage opportunity waiting for a heavy industry veterans, and give you the precise 90-day architectural blueprint to bypass the entry-level noise and execute a precision pivot into the green energy logistics, hit subscribe button and press the notification bell. I post daily videos showing you exactly how to navigate the global labor and the capital market using cold, hard engineering logic. You do not want to miss these execution protocols. We're going to break down the exact protocol to help you exit the declining carbon market and claim your permanent, unshakable stake in the hydrogen and renewable revolution today. Grab a notebook. It is time to secure your position at an absolute top of a new energy economy before your current industry became completely obsolete. Welcome back, I'm Dr. HR. To understand why my approach to the career architecture and the global energy transition is aggressively different from the soft environmental activism peddled by legacy media, you must understand my underlying structural logic. I hold a PhD in Human Resources, a Master's from prestigious Tata Institute of Social Sciences TISS in Mumbai, and a Bachelor's in Computer Engineering. I do not look at the energy transition as a moral crusade. I look at it as a greatest transfer of global capital and human leverage in modern history. Operating on the ground here in Dubai since 2010, consulting for the Tier 1 corporate entities, sovereign wealth funds, and massive state-owned energy conglomerate, I have monitored exactly how the apex executives are repositioning their portfolio. The capital has already moved. Now your career must follow. Let us systematically deconstruct this 90-day transition through 5 distinct phases. The wasting asset, the Novice Trap, the Arbitrage of Physics, the 90-day execution protocol, and the apex stakeholder. Phase 1, the wasting asset, the urgency narrative. We must first diagnose the exact debilitating vulnerability of remaining loyal to the fossil fuel sector in 2026. In economics, there is a concept called stranded asset. The stranded asset is a piece of equipment like a massive coal power plant or a deep water oil rig that suffers from an unanticipated or premature write-down, devaluation, or conversion to liability prior to the end of its useful life, usually due to regulatory shift or technological innovation. You must apply this exact macroeconomic concept to your own brain. If you are a specialist in enhanced oil recovery or deep water carbon extraction, you are rapidly becoming a stranded human asset. The global capital markets have made their decisions. Look at the sovereign wealth funds of the Middle East, the traditional undisputed kings of the oil. Saudi Arabia is building the NEOM Green Hydrogen Company, a multi-billion-dollar facility. UAE is aggressively expanding the Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Park and pivoting heavily into nuclear and grid-scale battery storage. The money that used to flow exclusively into exploring new oil fields is now being violently redirected into securing the renewable grid. If you choose to stay in oil and gas, you might continue to collect a comfortable paycheck for the next 5 years. but your operational leverage is collapsing. You are fighting the promotions in a shrinking pool of capital. Your industry is shifting from a state of aggressive innovation and growth into a state of managed decline and terminal maintenance. If you wait until the mass layoff hits the legacy energy sector, you will be forced to flood the market alongside tens of thousands of other desperate engineers, all competing for the exact same exit door. You will be losing all negotiation power. You must execute your extraction while you still possess absolute leverage. You must jump from the sinking ship while you can still command a premium for your life raft. Phase 2, the Novice Trap, the Contrarian insider. When a highly skilled petroleum engineer or oil field project manager finally realizes they need to transition into renewable, they usually make a fatal, catastrophic mistake. They listen to the legacy academic system. They believe the narrative that the green energy is completely foreign, magical technology that requires them to go back to the university for 2 years master degree in sustainable development. They apply for retraining programs that forces them to sit in a classroom with 22 years old who have never worn a hard hat or managed a P&L statement. They apply for an entry-level role at solar installation company, effectively accepting a 60% pay cut. This is the Novice Trap. Stop wasting your highly valuable time on traditional retraining programs that treat you like a naive beginner. You are not novice, you are a hardened industrial scale operator. The renewable energy sector in the 2026 is suffering from a massive bleeding wound. It is filled with brilliant scientists and idealistic activists who have absolutely no idea how to actually build, scale and manage a $5 billion physical infrastructure project under extreme environmental and regulatory friction. The green energy sector does not need another person who understands the molecular structure of a solar cell. They desperately need a veteran who knows how to pour 10,000 tons of concrete, manage a supply chain of raw steel across 3 continents, negotiate with hostile labor union, and execute a catastrophic risk mitigation protocol on an offshore platform. Your experience is a brutal, unforgiving world of oil and gas is not a liability, it is your ultimate, undeniable competitive advantage. The scale of the fossil industry is the exact scale the renewable industry is currently failing to achieve. You are the adult entering the room. Phase 3, the Arbitrage of Physics, mapping legacy skills. To bypass the entry-level noise and secure your executive compensation, you must execute the arbitrage of the physics. You must understand that the fundamental flaws of thermodynamics, fluid dynamics, pressure management, and the structural engineering do not simply change because the end product is a green instead of black. You are not changing the core capability, you are merely changing the label on the pipe. Let us structurally translate your legacy skills into the new high-value matrix. If you are a pipeline integrity engineer in the oil sector, you are now a hydrogen infrastructure architect. The world is desperately trying to figure out how to transport highly volatile, low-density green hydrogen across continents. Hydrogen causes metal embrittlement. It leaks easily. The renewable sector needs your exact expertise in high-pressure fluid dynamics and cryogenic pipeline management to build the next generation of hydrogen transport network. If you are an offshore drilling rig manager, you are now an offshore wind farm logistic director. The physical environment is exactly the same. You are managing the heavy maritime operations, helicopter crew transfers, subsea cabling, and extreme weather risk mitigation in the middle of the ocean. The fact that you are anchoring a wind turbine instead of a drill pipe is a minor operational detail. Your ability to keep human alive and equipment functional in a hostile marine environment is worth millions. If you are a refinery operations manager, you are now a grid-scale battery storage or electrolyzer facility director. You know how to manage the massive continuous process industrial facilities. You understand hazardous material protocol, high-value electrical routing, and continuous uptime optimization. You must aggressively map your legacy skills to the new environment. You do not apologize for your time in oil and gas. U-Frame is the ultimate high-stake training ground that uniquely qualifies you to scale the fragile renewable grid. Phase 4, the 90-day execution protocol. You have diagnosed the wasting asset. We have rejected the Novice Trap. We have translated your physics. Now we must execute the chronological blueprint. If you want to transition from a fossil fuel to a highly valuable renewable career, you must follow this strict 90-day execution protocol. Sprint 1, day 1 to 30. The linguistic overhaul and vocabulary translation. For the first 30 days, do not apply for a single job. Your objective is purely linguistic arbitrage. You must completely scrub the vocabulary of the legacy carbon industry from your resume, your LinkedIn, and your professional narrative. You stop using terms like enhanced oil recovery, upstream exploration, or petrochemical refining. You replace them with exact terminology of your sector. You rewrite your resume to highlight high-pressure fluid dynamics, complex maritime logistics, mega project capex management, and environmental risk mitigation. You learn the regulatory frameworks of the green economy. You read the earning calls of a Tier 1 renewable firms to understand their immediate operational bottlenecks. You format your past achievements so they read like a perfect solution to a green energy crisis. Sprint 2, day 31 to 60. The asymmetric targeting to the Tier 1 nodes. In the second month, you identify the exact battlefield. You do not apply to the small residential solar startup. You target the apex node of a global capital. You map out the massive sovereign-backed project, offshore wind mega development in North Sea, the multi-billion-dollar green hydrogen electrolyzer plant in the Middle East, and the massive grid-scale lithium-ion battery deployment in the United States and Australia. You compile a highly focused hit list of a vice president of engineering, the director of operations, and the chief technical officer running the specific project. You completely ignore the HR department and the applicant tracking systems. Because an algorithm will blindly reject your oil and gas background, you must bypass the machine to reach the human who is actively feeling the pain of a delayed mega project. Sprint 3, day 61 to 90. The high-leverage executive pitch. In the final 30 days, you execute the surgical strike. You deploy the targeted asynchronous communication directly to the executive on your hit list. You do not ask for a job, you deliver a verified diagnostic of their current operational pain point. I noticed your offshore wind deployment in Sector 4 is suffering from a maritime logistical delay, a bottleneck I successfully eradicated during $400 million deep water platform deployment in North Sea. The physics of the marine supply chain are identical. I have attached a sanitized structural breakdown of the risk mitigation protocol I designed to accelerate offshore heavy lifting operations by 15%. I am available on Tuesday at 10 a.m. to discuss integrating this framework into your Q3 wind deployment. You are not an intern begging for a chance to learn about solar panel. You are an apex industrial operator offering a mathematically proven execution protocol to save their delayed mega project. You extend the executive to recognize that your legacy fossil fuel experience is the exact antidote to their current renewable scaling crisis. Phase 5, the apex stakeholder securing the future. You must understand the profound historical significance of the pivot you are executing. The global transition from a carbon-based economy to a renewable electrified grid is the most complex capital-intensive engineering challenge in the history of the human civilization. It is not going to be achieved by politicians signing treaties, and it is not going to be built by the activists protesting in the street. It is going to be built by the hard-nosed, unsentimental engineers who know how to manage risk, pour concrete, lay subsea cables, and build massive high-pressure infrastructure. If you are a veteran of the fossil fuel industry, you hold the exact architectural blueprint required to save the planet's energy grid. Do not let the media or the legacy HR department convince you that your skills are obsolete or morally compromised. The industry you built powered the entirety of the 20th century. Now you must extract that massive intellectual capital and deploy it to your power to the 21st century. You must transition from a passenger on a sinking ship to a captain of a limitless fleet. Execute the 90-day protocol. Translate your brutal industrial vocabulary. Bypass the entry-level gatekeepers. Pitch your unshakable mega project logistical directly to the executives who are drowning in complexities of a green energy transition. Secure your position at the absolute top of a new energy economy before the rest of your current industry even realizes the game has changed. Process the data, execute the strategy, and I'll see you at the top.